India's largest online insurance aggregator with over 120 million yearly users. Nearly 1 million transactions per month. Policybazaar has altered paradigms in India's insurance industry. Meet Yashish Dahiya, the co-founder and group CEO of Policybazaar.com. From an insurance comparison portal to a leading insurance seller. One of India's top unicorns.
I'm Jasper Reed and this is Billion Dollar Idea. We're delighted to be joined today by Yashish Dahiya. Hello Yashish.
Hi Jasper, how are you?
Very well sir, very well sir. We're excited to talk to you. Yashish, you're a seasoned businessman. When you got Policybazaar going in 2008, when you look back now, has the journey been harder or easier than you imagined?
The journey was a little harder than I imagined. At least, yeah, I would say even today it's harder than I thought it would be because I had run businesses earlier, nothing as successful as Policybazaar. And those were a lot easier. So yeah, a little harder.
And Yashish, going back to the beginning of the journey in 2008, one of the questions that we're often asked by our viewers to ask our guests is how exactly did you get going? I mean, I think for a lot of people, they just simply don't know where to start. So take us back to 2008. You'd obviously had a lot of experience of marketplaces with e-bookers. You've been at Bain, you're IIT, or IIM. You've got, you're a smart man. But on a practical level, how did you kick off?
Well, the story is not as exciting as some of the others are. So I had a business after e-bookers in the UK, which actually failed. And a lot of my teammates who were back in India, about 18 of them, said, why don't we build a new business focused only on India? And it really started from there. And it was more their idea than my idea. And in a way, I joined them. Yes, I was the senior most and I was the CEO of the previous venture. So in a way, I became the leader of that group. But it was our joint idea. So we started in maybe about June 2008, and we got funded by October 2008. All 18 of these people did not take a salary. We managed to get a small office, and we started off. And we were all united in our vision. That was most important.
And were you originally, all 18 of you, were you originally dead set on disrupting the insurance sector, or were you kind of dispassionate about which sector you'd play in?
No, we were crystal clear. We had venture capitalists who wanted to invest in us to set up essentially the equivalent of Make My Trip or Yatra in India, and backing us to do that. And most of the team is actually ex-e-bookers. And we specifically said no to that, to multiple venture capitalists, because what excited about us about insurance at that stage was not the real problem or the underpenetration in India. But at that stage, what excited us was the mathematics of insurance, because Jasper, whether you sit, today we both sit on a flight, it costs the same to both of us, at least to the airline. But in insurance, if you and I sit on the same seat, the seat can cost $0 or $1 million, depending on our situations. And I think that mathematics of insurance was very critical, and it told us that data had a very big play here. And that is what excited us about insurance. So we were very clear we wanted to be in insurance. It was a virtual product. It was a promise. And it had a lot of data play, which was far more exciting for us than the travel business.
Okay, but it's a brave thing to do. I mean, the insurance industry, as you've said yourself, is a leviathan with gorillas like AIG and LIC, and it's a very well-established legacy business. Has it been hard to get in the mix to disrupt that industry?
So we learned both in the business I set up in Europe and the business I set up in India that insurance is a very, very political business, in the sense it's very difficult. There's lots of big players who have a lot of connects, and it's a very incestuous business. So it kind of does slow you down. We have to focus a lot more on the supplier side, regulatory side. It's all extremely complicated. And in the first business, I had not understood it, which is why I suffered. By the second business, I had understood it. So I understand it's a very intricate business. It has to be managed with a lot of care. And we were able to, because of the failure of the previous venture, we were able to do that in Policy Bazaar.
You're doing pretty well. I mean, your target is to get 10% share of the market. But just staying on the regulatory piece, Yashish, is it getting easier or is it getting harder?
It's getting easier. Because see, fundamentally, if you think about insurance as a category, it's a distribution product where the consumer is actually the person who is least thought about. What people think about is how the distribution makes money and how the insurers will make money. And that's fine. And, everybody kind of cozies up with each other and they somehow manage everything so things stay normal. But that is not how you can, in a country like India, or anywhere in the world actually, as social media, education, etc., catches up, that's not how you can run a business for the next 40 years, 50 years. I just can't imagine it, right? Nobody can imagine it. So somewhere it's in the insurance industry's interest to evolve. Otherwise, they've got they'll fall off a cliff at some stage. And I think we've been able to somewhere spark that hope in them that you can be consumer-centric and still make money in a sustainable long-term manner. And I think that attracts a lot of insurers, which is why today we have 40, 45 partners. So while there are a few who will try to always derail our operations or something of that sort, we've also been able to gather enough support in the industry.
And Yashish, in just following the thread of consumer centricity, on a practical level, how do you engage with your customers? I mean, what's your advice to entrepreneurs about how they should really, really get personal and into the consumer's head?
So this is not something we knew back in 2008. We just started this business in 2008 because it was the best thing out of all the options we had, right? But by 2009, we discovered something, that India has a lot of middle class people earning from $6,000, about 5 lakh rupees onwards, families. And these families neither have government support of a nature that can genuinely support them, and nor do they have the ability to handle a financial mess like the death of an earning member or somebody having a serious illness. And so we decided to educate the consumer that, look, these are the products you really need, not the investment category or some other category. You actually need term insurance, health insurance, because these are the products which will be of utility to you. And we've spent the last 13 years educating the consumer on that. Just need to understand that as of today, of the 60 million families in India, which I would classify as people having more than $6,000 per year of income, only 20% have any serious level of insurance or coverage. So there's another 80%. And please appreciate, every year, about 10 million people get added to this list. So it's an ever-growing list.
Okay, so there's huge need. It's growing. There's tremendous upside. Just turning, Yashish, to the running of the business itself. Let's pick off a couple of themes here. First of all, capital. I mean, every entrepreneur needs to get money. No money, no honey, as they say. How have you thought about capital, and how much has your thinking evolved down the years?
We've been very lucky because since 2011 or so, InfoEdge was the only investor who agreed to invest with us in 2008. There was a crisis on. 2010, 11, Intel was the only investor who agreed to invest with us. We went and spoke to about 30 investors. But those times were those times. From 2012, there's always been a lineup of investors who wanted to invest with us. Maybe because our ideas started getting grounded, our business started to get to a certain stage. And many a times, in fact, every time we've had to choose our investor. And in the last round, we actually wanted just Falcon Edge because of the connection they had with the UAE, because we were opening a UAE business. And while there were lots of other interests, we were very clear, we only want the UAE, sovereign fund to be investing with us because we want to open an operation in the UAE and we would like their support in the UAE.
Okay, so you're in the enviable position that you can pick and choose capital. When it comes to your team, Yashish, how are you seen as a leader? What are your thoughts on leadership, and how has that evolved?
Once in a while, you have to be able to find how you can treat others more importantly than yourselves, or be able to put your own agenda behind. And people see it. See, I speak about it now because I want others to learn from it. But I did not speak about it in the first 10 years of our venture. But everybody knew it. And most of them have committed back in a similar manner. They have made decisions which were anti them. So I think that is where leadership comes in. And if you don't have, I call it an iota of non-selfishness. If you don't have that, then it is difficult to be a leader.
Okay, and you talked a little bit before about, coming out of the UK and operating in India. Do you think, Yashish, that it's easier for an Indian entrepreneur to operate in the UK or the other way around?
That's I wouldn't know. See, I was always while I'm a UK citizen now, but I have at heart always had a lot of Indianness, right? Although ever since I've got the UK passport, I believe the UK is as much my country. So if there's a cricket match between India and UK, I don't know whom to support. I genuinely mean that. I genuinely don't know whom to support. While I love India, I also love the UK because, and I would not have taken the nationality if I did not love it. And I think UK entrepreneurs could operate in India in certain areas. And in certain areas, they would find it difficult. If I was to make a broad brush statement, I believe Indian entrepreneurs might find it easier in the UK than UK entrepreneurs might find in India.
Well, you've done pretty well scoring runs for both sides, Yashish. But just staying on India a little bit, are you bullish on India? I mean, we often read about India moving up the ease of doing business index. Is it getting easier? What's your thinking about?
I will make one statement. There is no way that in a medium term or long term basis that India would not do well. And that is almost saying a negative of a negative has to be positive, right? So with the potential there, I give you a very simple example. When we go into the IITs, right? I think it's one of the toughest exams in the world. The value added in those 4 years is actually very limited because I've also been to international institutions and have seen the value added there. So the value add is very high. But just the sheer competition level, the sheer caliber of people at some level is very high. I think we as Indians could do better on discipline. I think we do have some, but then, you got to live also. India is a happy place to live. How much discipline are you going to have? So people don't only work to live, they live to live. So I think it's a jolly place. And yeah, people do, and growth is the only way. It can't go downwards. Just seeing the opportunity and the caliber of people, it can only go upwards. And I think a lot of help is required from the government to kind of make that happen. Because in a way, the government owes that to the people of India, that the people of India essentially be, allowed to blossom.
So a country of tremendous promise and upside and talent, as you say. Just Yashish, just talking about you, the person. What are some of your kind of daily habits and routines, to kind of stay healthy in mind and body, to energize yourself?
So I've always liked to run and swim ever since I was a child. So it's not a habit I picked up at any age. I picked up when I was 8 years old. And I've stayed with it. I've loved it. Recently, I've also picked up a little bit of meditation from a friend of mine who's sort of introduced me to it, and I'm enjoying it. It's changing the way I feel, the way I think. It's bringing positivity to me. I usually work very fast. If that means anything, so if we are in a meeting and we decide to do something, by the time the meeting is over, I probably have already done my part. So I've already sent the messages. It's all kind of done. So I work at a very ferocious pace, sometimes too fast because it does not give time to think. But that's okay. I have a huge bias for action. So if we decide to do something, in 5 minutes I'd come back and say, why is it not done? So it's a huge bias for action. And I think that's how it is. Usually I find a lot of time. I'm not busy all the time. I find a lot of time because one of the principles I have is I only handle things once. So if a thing comes to me, I just handle it in one go. I don't keep it pending. And that leaves me, many times I'm wondering, I got nothing to do.
And when do you find you get your best ideas, Yashish?
I've always got them in the morning time, during my runs, and recently during my meditation times. It is amazing. The totally clutter-breaking ideas, the totally game-changing ideas come during those times, including, by the way, my decision to do Policy Bazaar, because I was very convinced I was going to make some excuse and pull out. And then this whole concept of 18 families versus one family, it came while I was praying. Because it suddenly came to me, how can you be so selfish? And it was like, wow, it just made perfect sense. So I think a lot of ideas come during that time to me. And then the rest of it is just execution.
The company's valued at more than $2 billion now, with a forecast to be nearer double that at IPO. When you have that liquidity event, you'll be personally a rich man. What will you do with the money?
I don't think that is something I have thought about, quite honestly. I think if I look at my family also, nobody besides my son is oriented towards money. In fact, I have a very strong view anti-money. Like, money should be there. It's like I have this view that money is like blood. You need blood in your body, but that doesn't mean you become blood bank. If you become a blood bank, that's not your purpose in life, right? Your purpose in life is to have enough blood to keep doing whatever, right? Like if you're running or whatever. Everybody in my family has the same view, except for my son, who thinks differently, which is fine. So maybe he will use it. I hope he uses it well or something, because my daughter has no interest, my wife has no interest, I have no interest.
It's very interesting that you can build a company so valuable with little interest in money. That's fascinating. Yashish, just we're in the final straight now. Do you see another career for yourself? I mean, I recall that the founder of eBookers went into politics after that. Do you see something similar for yourself? Is there a second and third innings out there for you?
I have a very good plan for the next 10 years for Policy Bazaar. I genuinely do. And it's one of the things I've come up in the last 6-8 months. And I'm going to be presenting it to my board. And they may take it, they may not take it. But I have a very, very interesting plan. Very, very interesting. Something worth spending the next 10-15 years of my life on.
And we'll be excited. Good luck with presenting the plan. We'll be excited to see it. Is there, as part of Policy Bazaar generally, is there a thought process around ECG, which is becoming more and more of a thing in the world? Where does Policy Bazaar put back into society?
So we and I both. I say for Policy Bazaar, I speak for myself. We both already do a few things. We don't speak about it as often, but I specifically have an interest in sports and children, and seeing children enter sports, because I think sports is a great leveler. It's a great builder of character. It's a great builder of opportunity for kids. And we also have an interest in the healthcare ecosystem in India. So currently, through our CSR project, we are supporting the Swasth Initiative, which is a not-for-profit body meant to build technology-based solutions for the healthcare solutions, health team. During COVID, we ran the NDHM helpline. When people were calling, all those people who were picking up the calls were Policy Bazaar, like a lot of them were Policy Bazaar employees on the 1091 calls. We had about 1,000 people pro bono. You can appreciate how much that costs, having 1,000 people taking all the calls, etc. All that stuff we have done. So we'll keep doing these things as we get opportunities. We'll see how we can grow that. There are lots of dreams, ambitions to see how we become more relevant, especially to girl children, again, via sports, and seeing how we can support them for longer. There was a thought process that in every village in Haryana, for all the girls, we support them through their education. So we'll see. One shouldn't talk about it early. Let's see what happens. Even my daughter, on a personal side, my daughter has a very keen interest in seeing how we can be helpful and be good to the world. So we'll see.
Yashish, we could talk to you all day, and we'll follow up with more shows, I'm sure. But just to end up, when you're facing the final balls in the final innings, without sounding in any way morbid, and you're looking back and thinking about your life and what you've achieved, how would you like people to think about you, Yashish?
I would say there's only, I would say what stands out in my opinion, and I feel proud about, is somewhere I've had that lack of selfishness. And I think the second part, which everybody who's known me would agree, is I don't give up easily. It's, when my character really shines, in my opinion, I feel very proud when things really, really get tough, because that's really when I come out, shining every time. And I'm very proud of that.
You're an inspiration, Yashish. We've really enjoyed talking to you. I'm sure we'll follow up more. Thank you very much for joining our show.
Thank you. Pleasure speaking with you, Jasper.